I'm going to show you how to update your rates using the Rate Import Export table. Log into the owner dashboard. On the left-hand side on the menu, go to Vacation Rentals. Click on Manage Listings, and then select your listing. Hit Edit. Go to the Rates tab, and here you will see how to enter a rate manually by entering the title, start and end dates, etc. And if you scroll down, you'll see a calendar here that usually is color-coded that shows you the different rates that have been established. If you hover over a date, it will show you what the rate is for that range. You'll notice that the colors on my grid end on December 31st, which means I don't have any rates established for next year. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see each rate range has been defined here. You could edit that particular rate by clicking the Edit button, and that would upload this information above where you could change the title, start and end dates, change the nightly or weekend rates, monthly rate, etc. And then you would save it. Whether it is active, yes. If it's a special offer, you would mark that yes. And you may overwrite a rate. I caution, if you're using the overwrite rate for a special, please test to make sure they give the desired results. You may have to delete rates that are overlapping and create a special rate range just for your special. If you wanted to make changes here, you would hit Save and click on Rates to return back to the main rates page. As you can see, I have a number of rates available for the next year, but that would be a lot to enter manually, so we have another feature that might be of interest to you. Scroll to the top and click on Rates Export. You can open the file. When the file opens, you'll see a table that shows each rate range and the information that goes with it. If you can't see everything in a particular column, click on that column and use your mouse on the right hand side to drag it open, and now you can see those dates. So here are my start and end dates and the title for each date range. And you'll notice that there's a value entered in each one of these columns. I'm not using a changeover day, but if I were, it would be shown here. What's important about using the Rate Import Export table is that what you see is what you get. If I were to change all this information to 2019 and upload it, it would actually replace the existing data. So I don't want to do that. I'd like to add new ranges for next year. So I can copy last year's information, and I'm going to paste it in here. Now you'll notice I left a gap here. Do not leave any blank rows. The reason I left a gap, the active rate range does not cover one of the periods that I need, which is my true winter rate. So I'm going to add it now. It's very important to follow the date formats. So here I'm going to enter in the correct date format for my new range. And if I wanted to include my nightly and weekend rates, I have now added a rate range for winter of 2019 following the format that's used. I can copy that and create a new one here for winter of 2020 just by changing the dates here. Now, if my rates have not changed, I can leave this the same. I have the option then of updating this information to reflect new rates for next year. So what about these that were copied for this year? I need to edit those to line up with 2019's dates and any changes to the rates. You'll also note that the rates cannot overlap. So if I end this rate range on the 2nd, the next rate needs to start on the 3rd. Remember, the rate applies to the night that they will be paying for. If they're checking out on the 3rd, they actually paid for the 2nd. And doing a quick glance, I had to update these also as 2019, and just double checking to make sure that each day does not overlap. Here I missed one. I ended on the 29th, and this one really should start on the 30th. For now, I'm going to leave this year's rates the same as last year's rates, but later in the year I might change that. By simply using the export rates, import rates, I can easily update these later. If everything looks good, save the file. It needs to be saved as a CSV file, which may be slightly different if you're using an Apple, but it needs to be comma delimited. CSV stands for comma separated variable. Say you do want to keep using that format, yes. The next step is to import this table. I'm going to close the file, and you don't have to save it again, but you can. Back on the Rates tab, now instead of export, I'm going to use Rates Import. Browse to the location, which is where I just saved my file. It asks what type of separator you have. By default, it says comma. Hit Import. Remember, this is replacing my existing rate table, so any rates that I currently need must be on this table. So now I have the rates that I had initially, and I now have my 2019 rates ready to go. If you scroll up, if you don't see the rates calendar, click on it here. And there you have it. If you're missing any rates, they'll show as gray between dates, so you'll know that you have a date period that you've missed. And although I have rates that are defined past June of 2019, our rate table will only show those here for the next 1 year. To edit these individually, simply click on the Edit button and make changes, and then hit Save. Anytime you make corrections to your rate table, we encourage you to preview the results and do a few rate tests, especially if you're trying to run a special or a discount. Hit Preview, and you can scroll down and you'll be able to see the rate table here. See that it's updated. And if I wanted to test this rate in particular, so if I wanted the week of May 25th to June 1st, get a quote, and this should line up with the information I see here, and it does. If you run a test and the results do not match what you think you should expect, please contact us and we'll look at it with you. The rate table is also helpful if you have more than one property that uses the same rates or multiple properties that use similar date ranges for the different rates. In that case, you would export the rate from one completed table, make the changes, and then you can import that same table into a different listing. If you have questions about how to use the import-export feature on the rate table, please contact us.